Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I wanted to talk about this skeleton piece that I've been working on for quite a few days now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the process and how I got to the end result. So this is actually my second attempt at this painting. I am doing the digital sketch right now. I had sketched it originally on a piece of paper and then I went into painting and I kind of ruined it because I used a really dark color that made it impossible to see the sketch, so that was bad on my part. I don't typically do a whole lot of planning for my pieces, but when I do have a good idea for a finished illustration, I do at least try to sketch it out beforehand. That way I can get a good idea of the composition and have a backup in case I do mess up the painting. So I guess to start off at the beginning, coming up with the concept of the piece, I have seen a lot of like dancing skeleton artwork where it's on like t-shirts and tapestries and things like that, and I also wanted something that was more representational, so I kind of themed mine around Dia de los Muertos, which is just Day of the Dead, and that was kind of what I was trying to achieve with this. And so I didn't copy the poses from the different versions of this that I have seen. I just kind of found dancing poses on Pinterest and went from there. And I did look at different art styles for the skeletons just because I've never really drawn skeletons before, but I kind of used that to my advantage, and I just went based off of the way that I typically draw people, especially with bodily proportions, kind of the way I shaped the heads and faces, and also the way that I drew hands and feet most especially. So that's all kind of based off of my normal style. And here you see now that I have finished the digital sketch, I am transferring it over to traditional, just by using my tablet as a light box. This is becoming one of my favorite methods. Although I don't love sketching digitally, I do prefer to sketch traditionally. Sketching digitally, or at least having a digital copy of the sketch, definitely saves me a lot of time in the long run, especially because I don't feel very confident in my painting skills quite yet, especially not with gouache. And I'm trying to focus on making gouache my main medium and then having watercolor as kind of a second choice. For this painting, I do kind of mix watercolors with gouache, but you don't actually see any of the watercolors in the final piece. I used the watercolors initially to make a wash for the background because the first time that I attempted this piece, I was trying to make a very dark background, and so I decided this time that I would make it much lighter. But after painting these skeletons, I realized that wasn't really a good idea because there wasn't enough contrast between the skeletons and the background. So I ended up painting over the background and changing it so that there was much more contrast and that the actual skeletons popped off the page. I think the total painting time was around 8 hours. It was a very long process and I almost gave up on this painting 2 different times. I was struggling a lot with this piece. Painting the skeletons was very tedious because I'm still kind of new to painting with gouache, so it was difficult to get all of the small details in. And then when I got to the background was when I wanted to quit again because, again, going around the skeletons and painting in small details where there's like gaps between the bones and stuff like that definitely took a very long time. In fact, even though I sped up all of the footage together at 8 times speed, coloring in the background took up half of that time, and that still wasn't short enough. I think if I didn't cut out pieces of the footage, then the video probably would have been close to an hour. So that's also why this video is coming out way late, because I spent the first 3 days of October doing the actual painting, and all of that time between that third day and now, I've been struggling with the editing. So it's been a long process to create this piece and then also to create the video. So I'm sorry for the late upload, but this is the best that I could do. Something that I also wanted to mention real quick was the conscious decision to make the skeletons slightly different in tone. If you look very closely in the finished piece, I purposefully made the skeletons different colors. Still very light and very white, but they just had different undertones. And I think that that was my favorite decision that I made for this entire piece, because I don't like having the very pure white for all of the skeletons. I feel like that would have been boring, but I like that there is variation and that it could be interpreted in different ways. Maybe the darker skeletons are like older skeletons, or they died older, or something, I don't know. But I think it could be a great way to incorporate a story into it, just having the little details in here. I tried to incorporate a lot of stuff that I've seen in art based around the holiday Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, and so I wanted to also limit the colors to being very warm colors, because that holiday is a very lively, mostly lively holiday, so it's something that I definitely wanted to feel warm and kind of cozy. And I know that there aren't pumpkins in the Day of the Dead holiday, but I kind of wanted to mix my two ethnic backgrounds of being Hispanic and American, so I wanted to have very subtle also Halloween elements, and that ended with just the one pumpkin. So I could have added more, but I just chose to leave it at where it is now. And at the very end of this video, you will notice that there have been some details that weren't recorded at the very end, and that is because my camera died and it was dark out, and I needed to finish it. I couldn't wait another day to finish it, because I don't even like splitting up painting sessions into multiple days. I try to finish all of my paintings all in one day, all in one session, really. And so breaking it up into multiple days was difficult, but I think this piece benefited a lot from that, because I needed to take a break from it the first time that I wanted to fail, and I think it helped to take a step back and then come back to it with fresh eyes, even though it was still very frustrating. Other than the couple of times that I wanted to give up, there was another thing that was very conflicting about finishing this piece. I have very shaky hands, so coming to the end and adding in the faces was very scary at the time, and I think that they turned out okay. I was trying to decide if I wanted to actually paint them or if I wanted to use pen, and I ended up painting them, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. I think that's all I had to talk about for this video, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the art and the speed paint and the little chatter. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye now.